thing I learned is when cops show up to a party, do not hesitate to run. There was a group of kids that stayed hiding in the basement. They hid in a closet, they hid in just like under the couch and rooms and shit. And then there was another group of kids who ran out the back door. Me and my buddy were a part of that group. So we're all running like a free-for-all, and this kid's backyard is just straight wilderness. Me and my buddy end up getting separated, and I'm fucked because my phone is dead. We gotta be at least like a quarter mile into the fucking forest by now, so I'm freaking out. I need to find my buddy. We need to meet up and do what his dad told us to do. So I'm standing all alone in the woods, and I just start screaming, "Gary!" A few seconds goes by. I hear my buddy scream from a distance, "Gio!" So we keep screaming like that until we eventually find each other. And my buddy was just with two random girls that we like didn't even know. They were staying by him because they were scared and they didn't know where to go. So now it's time to execute the plan his dad told us to do if shit went wrong. My buddy picks up.
Storytime of the most dirtiest college roommate ever. By the way, we're calling her Jessie. So I moved in before Jessie and I get settled and decorate. The next day, she comes and throws her bag on the bed, then leaves. I thought it was weird because she didn't even say anything to me. Couple hours later, she comes back and I'm like, hello. And she's like, my bad, and comes giving me a hug. She smelled very bad. She starts unpacking all of her clothes and blankets, but they smelled like mildew. Anyways, a week later, there's this party going on for freshmen, and she goes, but I stayed because I had a migraine. I told her that when she comes back, can she keep the light off? Now it's 2 a.m., and she comes back in very loud, uses the bathroom, then goes to sleep. And now I'm up, so I got up to use the bathroom too. When I sit down on the toilet, I feel something very squishy. It was dark because, like I said, I had a migraine. I get up, turn the light on, and I was sitting in her shit.
A girl made fun of this fat kid every single day until one day he got the ultimate revenge. Tanner Jensen was a 17-year-old kid who attended South Forsyth High School. Every single day, people would make fun of his weight and call him mean things such as piggy. This bullying devastated Tanner and led him to eating more food. And the worst part is his diet consisted of things such as pizza and burgers. And just when things were getting pushed to the last straw, something amazing happened to Tanner. A cheerleader named Amanda had asked him out to prom. Of course, Tanner had said yes. Later that day, he went to the store and bought himself a tuxedo. During the day of prom, he had even rented a limo, but after ringing Amanda's doorbell, she took a quick look at him and slammed the door in his face, saying that he was too fat. Tanner was absolutely devastated and livid, but he vowed to get the ultimate revenge. Like and follow for part 2.
Storytime, my toxic best friend outed me to the entire school. So one day, one of my best friends from a neighboring school decided to move to my school, and she was extremely upset because her best friend over there came out as bi. So I ended up using this as an opportunity to come out bi as well. And she was like, well, it's okay for you. I just got really close to her. We'll call the girl Becky because no one likes a Becky, and we can call her friend Heather. So fast forward to after the situation had calmed down, we decided to all go prom dress shopping. So Heather and I were talking and we really hit it off. And I think Becky legitimately forgot about our sexuality because we were all talking about how much we have in common, and we brought that up as well. She just looked at us and was like, oh, I forgot about that, and she just shrugged it off. But we continued to hang out for a few weeks. One of these weekends we all went to church together, and the sermon was about how God accepts you no matter what your sexuality is. But of course, Becky turns around to us and says that Heather and I could never date because it would F everything up. Later that day, Heather actually ended up admitting that she had feelings for me, and this is when Becky lost it. Stay tuned for part 2.
November last year, I gave birth to our first baby. It's the first in my family and the 6th in my husband's family. It's important to say that all 6 kids are boys, and my mother-in-law is in some sick, crazy girl phase. Ever since we made the announcement, my mother-in-law convinced herself that I was pregnant with a girl. I told her that once we knew the gender, she'd be the first person to know. Lo and behold, it was a boy. We told my mother-in-law we were having a boy, but she was still convinced it was a girl. She told the whole side of the family that it was a girl, and I corrected her, but she told them I was just annoyed because I wanted a boy first. I wanted a healthy baby. I didn't give a damn about the sex. She told them that we are naming the girl after her mom, which we will never do because my hubby hates his grandma. When the baby shower gift started to come, I noticed a lot of things that wasn't in the register, like embroidered things with the grandma's name on it. Well, the baby was born, and imagine the surprise, it was a boy, just like we have been telling everyone. The problem, for them at least, is that now the baby has plenty of girl clothes that we plan on putting on our son, specifically for his family video calls and for pictures with them. After Saturday, my mother-in-law gave us a call and started screaming because my sister and I have always been mistaken as twins. I'm 19 and she's 16, but we had the same height, skin tone, and similar voice. She also has a habit of being a copycat, from the way I dress to hobbies, even piercings. I know it's cute if you look at it from the outside, but sometimes it gets annoying.
Like, yeah, we are quite close too, but why does she always happen to pick up everything I pick up? One afternoon, I was tidying up some costumes in my college showroom and found a rather cute brown and pink wig. It looks like a mushroom. I put it on, think it looks rather funny, so I snapped a picture and posted it to my Instagram. I received a text from my sister asking if I really cut my hair. I didn't mention it was a wig. While I somewhat have a feeling that she might copy that too, I lied and replied yes. I came home that weekend and lo and behold, my sister emerged with the same silly brown and pink bob cut, except this one is on her permanent hair. She was surprised that I arrived with my hair still long, then realized that I lied to her. She was furious that she had to cut that silly hairstyle because she thought I had it. Our parents think that it's a really bad joke and wanted me to cut my hair too to make it up to her.
So am I the asshole for telling my sister I cut my hair when I really didn't?
Story time of how I found out that my mom was actually my older sister. My older sister never really liked me as a child. We were never close. I never knew why, but I was guessing it was because of a 10-year age gap. But I'm pretty sure she hated me because she couldn't even look me in the eye. I cannot make this up. She would not look me in the eye. But she never really talked to my parents either. She kind of just kept to herself all the time. Sometimes I have vivid memories of when we were younger and she would always be arguing with my parents about something, and I always thought it had something to do with me. Well, I was right. It had everything to do with me because eventually my sister turned 18 and she moved out. For 2 years, I didn't talk to her at all. I honestly don't even think I had her number saved, and I'm pretty sure that she didn't have mine. Well, 2 years later, and I was 10 at the time, she reached out to me via social media. I'm not sure how she found my Instagram name, but it was just my name, so she probably just typed that in and found me. She DM'd me and told me that she wanted to talk about something very important and that she would like to talk over the phone. So we exchanged numbers and we called that same night. And she told me that when she was younger, my dad had taken advantage of her and gotten her pregnant and had me. Put a finger down if from as soon as you were born, your parents would force you to watch porn, specifically a man and a woman. That way, as you grew up, you would think that relationships were supposed to be between men and women. And so every time you saw a couple of the same gender, you would automatically assume that they weren't normal and had some type of mental illness. And so when you grew up and sooner or later made a friend who you got really close with and eventually became best friends with, and she came out to you and told you she was gay, you ended up dropping her. And not only that, but made a fake page and outed her, so then the whole school knew, but she still doesn't know that it was you. And so one day when your parents who gave you that mindset died in a car crash, that friend you outed and completely violated offered to let you stay with them, and her parents would take custody of you even though you weren't as close as you used to be, and you took up on that offer and started living with her, but she still doesn't know that it was you who outed her until one day you felt too bad, so you decided to tell her. I'm running out of time, so like for part 2.
Last week, my 6-year-old son comes to me and says, Daddy, I saw mommy in bed with the neighbor when you were at work. So instead of confronting her when I found out, I thought of a plan to really fuck her. But we invited all of her family over for Christmas dinner, and while we were eating, I said, hey, Tommy, which is our son, how about you tell everyone what you told me a couple days ago? Everyone thinks he's gonna like sing a song or tell a poem, but he goes, oh.
Storytime is how my best friend got so weirdly obsessed with me that she even plotted to kill my boyfriend. So at the time, me and this girl, let's just call her Olivia, had only been friends for about 2 years. I mean, we really did everything together. We were with each other 24/7, and I mean, we were pretty good friends. But the only thing about our friendship is she did not like when I had other friends. I mean, she didn't have any other friends herself, but literally she would joke around about strangling my other friends because she didn't like when I gave my attention to anyone else. But honestly, I just thought of it as a joke. And then I started dating this guy, let's just name him Jacob. He was probably the sweetest guy I had ever met, and he was a real simp for me. So we started dating and about 4 or 5 months go by, and he started getting these texts from a random number. And it would always be cringy things like leave her or you die, get away from her, and like stupid cringy threats. Then one night me and him were just hanging out. Then he gets a text with his exact address saying he had till tonight to leave me or he wouldn't see another day. Then we hear a knock at the door. I'm running out of time, like for part 2.
I literally want to cry. So if you didn't know, I have a sister and her name's Ashley. And we both have boyfriends. And every night we both fall asleep on the phone with our boyfriends. So one day we're all hanging out and we're like just talking. And my sister's boyfriend looks at me and he's like, you need to stop going into your sister's room in the middle of the night. And I look at him and I'm like, what are you talking about? I don't have a reason to go into her room. Like I don't go into her room, especially in the middle of the night. Then my boyfriend hops in the conversation and he's like, no. He's like, no, I hear Ashley go into Kayla's room every night and stare at her. So me and my sister both look at each other and we're like, we don't go into each other's rooms, do we? And we agreed that we do not. And they said this has been going on for months. So for months, somebody or something has been going into me and my sister's room for about 15 minutes every night and watching us sleep. but it only gets worse.
Today at work, I was trying to call my wife, but for some reason, my phone calls weren't getting through to her. So I used one of my coworkers' phones to dial my house number and call home. So I call home, and a sweet voice answers the phone. It's my daughter. I go, "Hey, cutie, how you doing?" She goes, "Hey, daddy, what's up?" And I go, "I'm just at work. What are you and mommy doing?" She says, "Well, I just finished lunch, and mommy's upstairs." I go, "Cutie, what's mommy doing upstairs?" She goes, "She's with Uncle Paul." And I go, "Uncle Paul? We don't have an Uncle Paul. What do you mean?" She's like, "Yeah, she's with Uncle Paul. They're upstairs in their room." So I'm like, "Cutie, that doesn't sound right. So what I want you to do is I want you to leave the phone on the kitchen table, go upstairs to your mommy's room and say, 'Hey, daddy just pulled in the driveway,' and tell me what happens, all right?" Did it, and like a minute later, she comes back and picks up the phone and goes, "Okay, daddy, I did it." And I go, "Okay, what happened?" She goes, "Well, mommy came running out of her room naked, and she tripped down the stairs and bumped her head, and now she can't get up." So I was like, "What about the other guy?" And she goes, "Well, Uncle Paul tried to jump out of the window into the pool, but he missed and hit the floor. Now he won't wake up." So I was like, "We don't have a pool." Then I look at the phone number, and I was like, "Oh, sorry, wrong number."
Girls, tell me about a time where your quick thinking probably saved your life. I'll go first. 2 years ago, I was walking my dog at the park, and a man approached me and asked to take a picture of her. And I said yes, because why not? It's a picture of a dog. So he starts taking a picture of my dog, and then I realized that he was like holding up her collar, and then it hit me. My address is on that collar. He's not taking a picture of my dog, he's taking a picture of my address. So I told him that I actually didn't feel comfortable with him having a picture of my dog, and I asked him to delete it. So he deletes it and then like starts walking away really fast. And I was like, "Excuse me, sir, no, could you also go into your deleted album and delete it from there?" And he goes, "I don't have a deleted album." And I was like, "You have an iPhone, everybody has a deleted album, could you please delete the picture?" And he was like, "Sorry, I don't have a deleted album," and like keeps walking away. And keep in mind, this is like 2 PM in a park, like there's other people around. So now I'm like chasing after him, and I'm telling him, "Sir, I know you have the album, I will show you where the album is, can you please go onto your phone so that we can delete the picture?" Oh, part 2.
November last year, I gave birth to our first baby. It's the first in my family and the 6th in my husband's family. It's important to say that all 6 kids are boys, and my mother-in-law is in some sick, crazy girl phase. Ever since we made the announcement, my mother-in-law convinced herself that I was pregnant with a girl. I told her that once we knew the gender, she would be the first person to know. Lo and behold, it was a boy. We told my mother-in-law we were having a boy, but she was still convinced it was a girl. She told the whole side of the family that it was a girl, and I corrected her, but she told them I was just annoyed because I wanted a boy first. I wanted a healthy baby. I didn't give a damn about the sex. She told them that we are naming the girl after her mom, which we will never do